Well, hello and welcome to my channel. So I talk about God's faithfulness, His commitment, love, and just the amazing answers to prayer, how faithful He's been. Also, different times in my life when I was on the wrong path, but yet God's pursuing passionate love. So today, it's actually, it was around 1989, 1990, and I was down in South Florida, Miami, Hollandale area, and I was working at the strip club. And well, really, how I got in the strip club was obviously to get out of a domestic violence situation. And I remember coming in uh, with my resume and a nice dress, and the manager was looking all behind like the doors and the curtains. I believe now he probably thought he was on candid camera because it's not really a job where you need a resume to show up. It's basically just kind of look at you and they can tell if you would be good working in the club. So anyway, this story really, God was working on my life. Just I had quit the drugs, alcohol, and He just was delivering me from so many things. And my life was, the seed was at work inside me. And the reason I tell the story is because, you can end up in a lot of places if you don't know your unity in Christ, or you don't know what happened when you said yes to Jesus and entered in Him. And so these are one of these things. But so there I was, looking out on the green on the scene at the next girl, because I was up next, and you gotta know where you can uh, put your efforts to make the money. And just then, I heard a blood-curdling scream. It sounded like it came right from the picture above the small stage there. And wow, rumor had it that she had gotten murdered years earlier upstairs. And I never knew her, but something about the blood cries out, doesn't it? Or something, I don't know. But anyway, there was no stairs upstairs when I worked there. It was kind of closed off, so just FYI. But then right after the blood-curdling scream, I heard, "What profit a man if he should gain the whole world and yet lose his own soul?" And I thought, that's kind of interesting. But I looked over to the right. There was like a beaded curtain, and that's way off to the dressing room. Ain't nobody there. And then up to the left, it was like the DJ booth and nothing. So I just went kind of full speed ahead. Just it was kind of like a survival time in my life, and just if you're moving fast, it doesn't really give you a lot of time to say la. So that was one incident where God was faithful. Oh yeah, one quick story is, you got to be careful what you speak into the atmosphere, because one time, well, we had different famous people come in, but one time there was a famous boxer, actually was around that time period, and he was on his way over, and we were in the dressing room, the strippers were, just locker room, whatever, and all of a sudden the manager comes out and he says, "All right, you go-go dancers, everybody up on stage." And he had already come from one club and he's coming to the other one. So anyway, I never knew that strippers was called go-go dancers. And I remember as a little girl, people when I was a little girl, the people would come to my house and it was the famous question, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Well, I had said go-go dancers, and they would kind of be, "Wow, okay," and kind of look at me and my mother like they were puzzled. But you see, I had seen a movie where there was a dancer. She was bikini, so it was summertime. I thought she was dancing in this big cage way above, and just, having fun, high boots, and just having fun. And so, matter of fact, that's kind of how I got into the strip, as I said, the career. I saw an ad in the paper that said, do you like to dance? Do you like to make money? Do you like to have fun? And so that's how I answered that ad. But anyway, back to the famous boxer. Okay, so I'm up on stage and he says something to me. We're all up on stage, but he looks right at me and says something to me. And I couldn't understand what he said. I was just kind of looking at the tattoos on his face. And so I turned to the bodyguard, and he kind of translated. And when I heard what he said, I just looked at the boxer right in his eyes, and I looked with compassion and thinking, gosh, what would your mother be thinking, or something like that. And grabbed my clothes and just, really quickly just prayed under my breath, I guess. Actually, other customers said that they, when they saw my reaction to different people, and I should have been really angry, but for some reason, it's like the Lord inside me, a spirit inside me was told the customers I'm just going to be praying for them. And so anyway, other customers had wrote me through the years after I even left the club. Thank you. I came to know the Lord. I'm like, what? So I always say, if God can use a 15-pound pug dog, he certainly can use a drunk, blacked out stripper. That's another story for another day. But actually, I did not. So the seed was always in me. I'll just say that. It just was in me. And if you don't hinder it, it will grow. It would have been better if I would have known to nurture the seed and all those things. But anyway, let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I heard that famous boxer actually has like a podcast, and actually in some of his conversations seems like he's really tuned into the Lord. So there's so many answers to prayer, God's faithfulness. Yeah. But actually on this healing journey you might want to try doing things called missing experience completed action. And what that is if you would have known information back then when different things happened, like if you're feeling bad that you missed a moment with God, or I'll tell you, if I would have followed his path, it would have changed about 95% of my life. That's why I'm so passionate about the gospel, is because the earlier you can get it in life, the better. Yeah, for sure. It's good to know who you are in Christ and what he did in the death, burial, and resurrection, and what all is yours, and how he feels about you, and this wonderful inheritance that he left. But getting back to the missing experience, completed action, is putting in information, like what the choices you would have made had you known. So yeah, when I heard the Lord's voice, I would have leaned into that and probably quit the clubs sooner than I did. Actually, when I did go around, I did feel the Lord wooing me. I look back now, and it was, and some customers couldn't believe. They said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go after God." And they looked like their faces was like almost like a moment that should have been on blast or something. But they said, "Oh, you'll be back." And I said, no, I won't be back. But I'll tell you, after I did leave, even years afterwards, sometimes I had dreams about that. And anyway, I just want to say that, sometimes it can look outwardly like God is not working. And there was a lot of places I was in because I did not know who I was in Christ. But internally, the seed was working, which I already mentioned about that. I have a verse for you. But I just want to say, if you've seen God's faithfulness on your path, and it just convinces you of his love, if you might want to share about that, that'd be great. But the verse that I've got here is Romans 1:16 through 17. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believes, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For in it is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. So, yeah, God is so good. He's worth us telling it, and I just Pray that you see the blessings of God this week and stay tuned.